Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your fortnightly Warhammer podcast, where we talk all things. This week, especially, we have the Morehammer Award Show, end of year award show. It's our last show of the year, guys. Sadly, it's been I can't believe actually we've had a full year now of the podcast, guys. And as you know, I'm joined as always by my other hosts, Ben, aka 90% Geek, and Simon, aka Hobby Waffle. How are we doing, guys? Exciting stuff.
Oh, I am absolutely It's been a hell of a year.
Yes.
Good evening. It's been a hell of a year. Yeah, definitely. Been a
As
good
you
one.
can see, we've gotten all suited and booted for you for the last episode of the year, and
We have refreshments.
Saya's gone full Bond, I must say. Like, she could not stir over there.
We need a little drink counter that will just crop up at the bottom with side like how many measures he is in.
Definitely.
Well, I've not gone for port because I thought it might be too dangerous because I do enjoy my port. So I'd be on the floor by the end of the podcast, I think.
You just, by the end of the podcast, you'll see the bottle.
Oh no, I've not brought the bottle with me. The glass is enough.
Probably for the best. But no, we're gonna have a fun one for the end of year one here, guys. We're gonna react still to a few of the reveals we've had because there have been quite a few in the last couple of weeks, as we always do. But then we'll do our award show. You guys, thanks to everybody who's gotten involved with that. We'll be going through your picks and we'll choose our own on here and see who the winners are. You got stuff like miniature of the year for each kind of game system. You got overall miniature of the year, best new edition of the year, all that good stuff to come. And if we get some time, we'll have a chat about what we're going to get up to over Christmas and our favourite bits of the year, I think. But yeah, I suppose, Ben, this week we're going straight into what is it time for?
And now the news.
Definitely is. And we'll bring it up straight away. Horus Heresy fans will be quite happy. We've had some gorgeous Horus Heresy minis in the last couple of weeks, so we'll bring up the first, which came out today actually. So Legion Overseers. And you got a new Overseer model.
I immediately looked at this and thought, is that a chaplain? Like, is that supposed to be a chaplain?
I had the same thought, and then I was a bit taken back by all the colour on it as well. Red helmet, yellow pauldron, and then the blue of the plasma pistol. I think there's just too much spot colour on it. I think unpainted, this probably looks a lot nicer, or painted differently.
But in particular with the black armour, I mean, they're very obviously looking Crozius. I mean, there weren't chaplains at this point in the heresy background because obviously, aside from the word bearers, there wasn't the religious aspect. So is this the origin of chaplains? Is the kind of the overseer initially overseeing the mortal troops, then going on to becoming the overseer of kind of the purity of the Astartes?
I assume so. I'm not sure on the law with these, so and I haven't had a chance, I'll be honest, to read them.
I'm not sure either.
Ben's quite right because these are there to inspire the human troops that sort of fill in the gaps when Space Marines have taken casualties. So they're there to inspire and lead by example and fill them with oratures of glory and stuff like that. But it said the traitor one acts a lot differently. He's probably got a big power whip or something like that. Get into battle. But I think these sort of act like a chaplain would in the 41st millennium for the solar auxiliary and people like that, according to the law. And they can take 3 last rifle sections to command as well, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty
Anyone cool. knows more about kind of chaplains and stuff in the heresy, please could you let me know in the comments at the bottom, because it would be helpful to be educated on this.
I forget, I'm really sorry, I forget the username of the fellow. We usually have a big Horus Heresy fan in our comments who watches and listens along.
David Brain, I think it is.
I was going to say, is it David?
Okay.
I didn't want to say, but
yeah.
Let us know.
Slightly wrong, but
I know you're always picking up Horus Heresy, so let us know.
He's a big Heresy fan, and he's always comments. So he's a great guy.
We need Matt on here, don't we? He knows everything Heresy.
Yeah, maybe we should have like next time we get a big Heresy release, we'll have to get him on and he can educate
we'll have to get
us.
him on again for sure. Okay, next up we have lovely Iron Warriors, Warsmith.
That axe hammer thing is really cool.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. I love the cosmonaut style skull cap as well on the unhelmeted version.
I was about to say that, so proper kind of World War II style like pilot there. Yeah, but no, I assume we had an old mini for this. But we didn't know.
No, we had Tech Marines, but there was the
but not specific.
The Iron Hands had like an Iron Father kind of version
Okay.
that looked a lot like
Yeah, I
this. But
remember.
no, this is
That's
the
the one I remember.
first Heresy era Warsmith model.
Right. Well.
Yeah, there's two
very
versions
nice.
as well. There's like an in-person only version, I think, or is it a Warhammer World only version where he's holding the hammer in two hands? If you scroll down, I think there's a different version.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that one.
I did not see that first time.
That's
looking at it,
cool.
so
He's
pretty
about
awesome.
to smash something down there, isn't he?
You wouldn't mess with
And
him.
that's
if you
that's a
come up against
Warhammer World exclusive variant, is it?
If you scroll up, it does tell you. It's just going to be exclusively on sale at Warhammer World. Yeah, so
yeah, okay, that's
Hammer
cool.
Time Boy. You got to go.
I love the helmet as well on that kind of iron skull
wicked.
shaped helmet on him.
Well, very small spoiler alert, but I know we said we were going to be doing this in the new year. So the first year episode back in the new year, guys, we're going to do kind of our new year predictions for what's ahead for the year, but also resolutions. So maybe we'll pick a couple or a few each as to projects we want to do over the year, and then at the end of the year we'll kind of see who's come closest to achieving what they were going to. But one of mine might have to be finally getting into Horus Heresy and starting up an army. So get in the comments, guys, and convince me what I should go for. But this guy does make me take fancy to Iron Warriors. It's very cool. But yes, we have
there's also something else to look at, which is this one.
Yeah,
I think this is the nicest one.
Almost as if I knew you was going to click the button.
Iron Hands Legion Praetor.
I think this is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think he's the nicest with of this sudden rush of kind of Heresy models we've had. I think he's so cool.
Another addition to the Spider Foes gallery, Doc Ock style Marine.
He's got the mechadendrites, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. I assume he's got a bit more close-up images there. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
And he's got an iron hand. Woo!
But no, I like how they're releasing still minis here and there, especially with these reveals on Thursdays for each chapter. If you
it was funny the other week they said there was going to be something to do with pauldrons, and then the week after it turned out to be this guy, so it wasn't pauldrons at all.
I mean, he has got pauldrons, but yeah.
He has indeed.
Definitely. But no, some awesome new models for Heresy, and like I say, guys, get in the comments and let us know if we've missed any details out there. But awesome stuff. But we shall move on to the old world. And we have a very gorgeous...
Which one are we going with first?
I tell you what we'll do first. We'll go in order of how we've missed them. So we'll go with the wizards.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll go... Well, I love the title on this, by the way, and for our next trick, I think that's great. But you now have their wizards and new wizards and familiars. I believe they're like familiars, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That are going with these for the old world, and these are
that is what you call a wizard sleeve.
Yeah,
it really is. But no, look at the gnome. The gnome is by far the coolest thing on that. In fact, it is literally it's a gnome, like from the Blood Bowl team. It's as far as I can tell, it's the first gnome released for the old world since like the 1980s.
It's very true. I wonder, after the popularity of the release for Blood Bowl, they might actually think about getting a few gnomes actually into old world again. It does make me wonder if we.
You never know.
Sorry. I think we put something daft like that as one of our. I think it was episode 2 this year. Talking about the year. I think it was episode 2 of this year was for the gnome reveal, and we did some sort of stupid title for that one. I can't remember, but you weren't far off with what you just said.
Well, I mean, it makes good economic sense.
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
Nobody needs to know these jokes.
No, it's end of the year, guys. Forgive us. It's been a long year. But we have the next choice, and this
with
is
the
very
frog with a pipe.
Yeah, the familiar for this guy.
I'm getting this one.
That frog's called Shadrach or something like that.
I would get this miniature purely for the toad or the frog.
He is cool.
Smoking a pipe. I mean, I'm not actually that fussed on the kind of amber feral wizard, but the frog is so cool.
I actually like the wizard, to be fair. He gives me very big Radagast
He's
vibes.
very Radagast the Brown vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Does that know a magic trick?
Yeah. But no, another awesome one there. And then coming down, you have
I like this one.
the Death Wizard.
This one is very cool.
The Scythe. And then the familiars, the little hunched over skeleton.
You were right
cannibal
about
on the
this,
back.
Ben. When we were talking about the wizards the other week, didn't you say there'd be some sort of death theme wizard?
I thought there was going to be, yeah. I mean, I was kind of
Grim Reaper.
looking at the different spell laws that you had
That's
available
right.
to the Empire, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if they did a wizard to represent each of the laws?
Yeah, which they've more or less done. And
Yeah, basically.
some of the nicest old world minis I think we've had revealed this year. I think if these had actually come out this year, one of these may have been up for my old world pick of the year. I think.
Really?
Given we're on the award show, I think they're gorgeous. Yeah. But I think that's it for the three wizards that we had revealed.
Yeah.
But just I wasn't expecting them to give us a good few of them, to be fair. So really nice to see. And then we move on to the Grand Master of the Knights.
I'm sorry, this would be my miniature. This may well be my miniature of the year for next year at the moment.
Just before Ben gets excited and starts talking about this.
What do you mean gets excited?
Well, I won't get a word in. When I first saw the image come up, just like this one that we've got on the screen now, so for anyone that's listening, it's just the image that's on the Warcom site. When I first looked at it, I thought it was a panther's head, and the actual plume on his helmet was a gold fist holding like a plume at first glance. So it looks like a Thundercats character with a golden glove, like holding a purple plume or a blue plume above the air. And then I looked at it again and thought, no, you idiot. That's his shoulders, his head has got a massive decoration on the top. Once I've sort of worked out in my head what the miniature was, and it was based on that piece of John Blanche artwork, then I thought, oh my god, this is cool. But at first glance I thought, I don't like that. But once I'd studied it properly and looked at it, you know, with a sort of analytical eye, I realized it's actually really nice. I'm not an Empire fan, by the way, so for me to say that, I think it's really nice.
I'm the same as you though, Si. When I first looked at it, I did think the panther was the head. I saw lots of people on social media and Blue Sky saying the same thing.
I just thought, Thundercats, as soon as I saw it, then I realised what it was. I was like, no, you fool. That's his shoulder.
Go on, Ben, gush over this.
I love this miniature so much. It's just
I know, I watched your video earlier.
Cool. I love in particular, the aspects that I love in particular, the grimacing little kind of bully gargoyle type head on the top of the helm. I mean, that's taken directly from the John Blanche artwork, but I love that it looks slightly silly. Like it does. It looks like a little Jim Henson kind of labyrinth monster.
Yes.
Grimacing.
It looks like a boglin. Do you remember boglins?
Yes, it does look like a boglin. But yeah, I love that. I love the dynamism of the way that the pelt flows the same kind of direction that the hair on the tail does, and even the hair on the hooves has that kind of sense of motion. It's just I can't wait to see it in person. I'm desperate to get my hands on one of these.
Can I just say as well, big up to whoever painted this, because the actual skin on the horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the speckling,
the glistening,
dappling.
Speckled. It looks like it's almost glistening,
Dappling,
like a unicorn's fur or skin. It's
a great
so
paint job.
well done. Really,
it's a brilliant paint job. Funnily enough, I've actually literally been painting this kind of light grey with the white kind of dappling effect on my Illyrian Reaver's horses this last week. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, awesome.
The pelt's really good as well.
Yeah.
And even
I'd like to see. I don't think the close-ups. If you scroll down a bit, Luke, I don't think the close-up shows us the back of the. Oh, it does. No, you get a bit of the back of the pelt. But I'd like to see more of that. And I mean, the paint job on the face of the leopard as well is just glorious. No, I think this is probably. It's a close run thing. I think this is one of my favourite miniatures that they've released for the old world thus far, and they've released some absolute stonking, beautiful new models. But there's
going to be a new addition to Ben's Empire Army, and it's not just.
Heck yeah!
It's going to be Knights Panther, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, I've already got a unit of 10 Knights of the Blazing Sun in my Empire Army, but as soon as I saw this, I'm like, right, no. The Knight box comes with 12 Knights in it. I'm getting a box of those. They're all being done as Knights Panther, and he is being bought to lead them because he is brilliant. But I am going to paint him. I want to try painting him to match the John Blanche artwork a bit more, because the artwork, a lot of his armor's kind of very much black steel with little kind of brighter silver kind of edge highlighting and aspects. And this, obviously, they've gone for a more traditional kind of shiny steel armored effect. And I want to see if I can try and match the paint work, the artwork even closer.
Well, it might be blasphemous to say, but it does kind of make me want to pick up this guy and paint him in like a Black Panther theme.
That would be
That'd
interesting.
be kind of cool, like a darker theme.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we could gush about this model for ages. It is
No,
fantastic.
he's brilliant.
But just very quickly, one other thing that popped up that I completely missed, actually, just a little Age of Sigmar drop. They've Gallon and Durali.
Oh,
Yeah. The Boxing Day miniature.
Yeah. So they've been brought to miniature form.
Again, well, they already had the existing ones with them in the long coats.
Oh, was that?
That's them. This is the same them. This is them without their coats. This is they've taken their coats off.
So like different versions.
Defrocked.
Yeah.
Necromunda releases as well. So you got the
Tai
Onmyodo Coven.
Onmyodo.
There you go.
Kabuki Theatre of Death.
Bushido crossed with
pretty much.
Necromunda.
I'd actually missed these until Luke pointed them out to me about 20 minutes ago. I had genuinely missed the news release of this with everything else I'd had going on, and I really, really like these a lot.
They are
Yeah,
gorgeous.
I mean, I only glanced over them, but having had a second look just before we started, I thought, yeah, these are pretty nice. It's not something I'd pick up myself, but again, Necromunda miniatures, the hangers-on, the side characters, the odds and ends of the Underhive are just brilliant. There's always some decent artwork to go with it as well.
They kind of make me think of like Confrontation style miniatures, like that whole kind of slightly different style. It is very different to anything else I think we've seen in 40k in a while. This, and I like it a lot.
So is this technically another house, or
is
it like a separate?
It's House Delac again, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, this is House Delac.
House Delac.
In the same way, like the Cawdor gets, there's the house that have kind of the corpse grinder type jobbies as their business, and like the Escher have, there's a house that they do business with. This is the house that Delac apparently do business with, which is essentially a Japanese house, which is very cool.
They are really, really cool.
It even says in the description that the dynasty hails from ancient Nihon back in old Earth that was.
Yeah, House Tai, I think it is, isn't it? Oh.
I'd like to read up some more lore on these. I think that's very cool.
They're very, very cool. This does look more and more like there must be some kind of big Delac thing coming, because in between this and some of the other things, like this guy we can see in the side there, the infocyte in his chair, it does seem like there's some kind of big storyline push for House Delac coming at some point.
They didn't really get an Ash Waste anything, did they? They didn't get vehicles. They got some, respirator heads and stuff like that. I mean, maybe there's something for Hive Secundus, because surely it's full of secrets. We got the Vansar Tech Hunters. Maybe we'll have like a Delac Shadow Hunters or secret.
That would be very, very cool.
Because those data cores
stuff
that you get in the Hive Secundus, the data stack crystals, that's something I just like want to get their hands on, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Some great reveals from the last couple of weeks there, for both mostly old world Horus Heresy. However, that is the reveals out of the way. One thing we were going to touch on as well, Ben, I mentioned to you beforehand. Si, I don't know if you've watched it. The new Secret Levels episode dropped.
Oh, I've watched it.
Yeah. I thought we could have a quick little chat about that and see what we thought about it.
If you ever wanted to know how deadly a Space Marine was in hand-to-hand combat, I think that episode shows it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to say, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was I'm not sure that it was as good as the one that they've been doing on Warhammer Plus, the one with the Salamander and the Sister of Battle. I think that may have been better. But I really enjoyed this. And particularly,
it was way better than I expected it to be. I mean, that scene where they're fighting against the cultists in that.
I was going to say, that's my favourite bit.
And they're going hand to hand, whereas one hand's doing one thing, the other's just backfisting a cultist casually in the head without even thinking. And then again, it was just absolutely phenomenal.
It's actually just the scene where they're all walking forward towards them, and you got all the cultists on like the bikers, everything swinging in from the left and right. And they're just all funneling in, and you get that shot where it just comes over the top. And you just got these, 3 or 4 Marines?
Four
just
Blade
walking
Guard
in a
veterans,
line,
yeah. Well,
and
Titus
all
and 3
funneling
Blade Guard.
and then they just mash their way through. Oh, it's brilliant.
I like, my favourite bit is when he's towing the reliquary along.
Yeah, I was thinking, what's in that?
Yes, yeah.
And he drops it to fight the cultists. And the veteran sergeant, who just kind of gives him a look, before handing it to him. Like, you're responsible for this. I mean, the body language was entirely conveyed, just in the armored ring, but there was very much a look that passed between them. Even though
I think it's definitely worth a second viewing, because I think Warcom did an article where they were saying things you might have missed, and I caught most of it, but I didn't catch some of the helmet graphics. So as you're watching the action, aren't you? But apparently on the sergeant's screen and stuff like that, you can see the 4 or the 3 icons of his brothers who are now dead, the skulls, and it's showing the injuries that he's got. So his Lyman's organ is screwed, his Belisarian furnace is not responding, and his Susan membrane's primed, ready to put him in animation because he's that badly injured. So there's all little bits of info on the screen there. So I'm going to have to give it a second watch, I think.
I think the bit I did like the most was the Chaos Cultists. Like, I genuinely looked at that and went, I want those as miniatures, please. Because they were so cool. Like,
they were very bird-like, weren't they?
Style. Yeah, but kind of like Mad Max,
Mad Max style,
Yeah, I was going to say, when they first started coming on screen, I was like, wait, are they doing like a weird Mad Max crossover or something here? This is really weird. But then as soon as they mashed straight through them, I was like, oh, okay, that did not last long.
No.
And that's what cultists should be. They should just be there as a meat shield.
Yeah.
And then obviously you see
speaking of shields, you see one of the shields that he picked up to weather the storm from the tank. It was a tilt shield of a knight, I think.
Was it? I thought it was the shield he was carrying. I thought it was the Blade Guard shield he was
carrying. He picked something else up, didn't he? I think.
Did he?
Afterwards, you mean? Yeah, I think he does actually.
He picks up a big piece of metal, and I think it was a tilt shield. I might be wrong.
Okay.
But I know in the
comments. I can watch it again.
Yeah, I need to watch it again, but I feel like
again.
His Blade Guard veteran shield, he loses it at one point, and then he has to.
Have you watched any of the other secret level stuff?
No, not yet. No, I want to watch the Pac-Man one.
I was just going to say, apparently the Pac-Man one is a right mind bender.
Yeah, it looks like it's messing with your head. And it's the same crew who did Love, Death and Robots, isn't it?
I don't know.
The production team is the same. I think it's the same team who did Love, Death and Robots, which is some of the best sci-fi anthology stuff I've seen on TV in a long time.
Especially video game fans, who have said that they're a lot of people's favourite one is the Warhammer one.
Cool.
So after I'd watched that, I was sort of reticent to go back and watch the other ones, but I'll get round to it at some point. But no, very cool. Good job from the team who did that. Very, very fun watch. The only other news that we kind of had drop around that sphere was the fact that Henry Cavill and Warhammer.
Henry Cavill went to a game shop.
His first game shop.
Yeah, and just happened to throw out that the deal has been done with Amazon.
There, by the way, we should have said, and the award to best animated film goes to Secret Level.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Yeah.
But would it go to that, or would it go to the one from Warhammer Plus? We'd have to debate it then.
Was that this year or was it last year?
That was this year. Well, the second season of it was this year.
Okay. Yeah. I never thought about that actually. But maybe next year we'll have to bring in best animated series or something. Best. We'll have to just see how many there are in a year. Because I was thinking about video game as well, but we've only really had 2 this year, so it's kind of.
Should get some little paint pots on a painting handle and call them the Moscas instead of the Oscars.
Love it. Well, if someone gets the servo skull with the microphone from the Warhammer Plus anniversary miniature, we can just get a bunch of those. Maybe we can get a bunch of those cast and then just use those as our little awards.
Love it. But no. Yes, so sorry, with the TV series / movies, whatever the deal is with Amazon, it's official now, and production is supposedly actually underway. So if any of you were worrying about that, it's official now. So
I mean, it's going to be a couple of years until we get to see anything, according to what they've said.
Yeah, it was always going to go through. I think there's too much money involved.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, people who are naysaying it, I think, doom and gloom.
But I'm glad that Henry Cavill's still involved, because I'd be worried if it still went through, but he'd left the project, because that would worry me that Amazon have kind of taken a stance on, we're going to choose who we want to be involved, and they're not going to stay as true to it as they would have done with him involved. So I'm happy that's. I mean, there's still a ways to go. You could still things can still go wrong with it, but fingers crossed for now. It's looking good, and I don't know if either of you have watched Rings of Power season 2 yet.
No, not yet. No.
It's a massive improvement over the first season.
I really enjoyed the first season.
Sort of learned the lessons a bit.
I think the second episode of the first season, I was like, "Oh, come on!" But after that, it was all right.
Okay. But I mean, I know from a general perspective, from a lot of people out there, season 1, a lot of people weren't keen on it. And I myself found it a little too slow. for me, and some of the characters were a little too bland. But the
Given that
second
it's
season's
based on the
just-
Silmarillion, I mean, that's kind of the vibe from the Silmarillion, to be
but
honest.
it doesn't. No, I disagree though that you can't still make it more interesting with good writing and just action scenes, whatever you want, just to liven it up a bit. I just found it dragged a little bit first season. It just took too long to get from plot point to plot point for me. But that's just
Fair
me.
enough.
But I'm hoping that Amazon they've done some good things, so we'll look forward to them doing the Warhammer stuff.
Have either of you seen the War of the Rohirrim yet?
No, have you?
Oh, yeah.
No, I haven't because I've been so
Okay.
busy. But now I've got a bit of free time. That's on my to-do list is to go and see that at the cinema
I'd
because
like to.
big screen Lord of the Rings entertainment. Got to get some of that.
Are either of you going to be... I mean, I know this is more end of show thing, to be honest, but we'll get to the R awards in a moment, guys. But were either of you looking at picking up the new Lord of the Rings release or not?
I can't justify it at the moment. I've got
Me
too
neither.
much else to do.
No.
I mean, I love the Lord of the Rings game, and I definitely want to pick it up at some point, or at the very least pick up the main rules so that I can play the new edition of it. But it's going to have to wait a little while. Albeit, I think that's some of the stuff that I love painting the most is Lord of the Rings miniatures because they are such lovely miniatures.
The miniatures are great. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'd like to give it a try, but it's not something I'd be buying myself. I'd have to give it a whirl first.
Indeed. Well, I think that covers our news segment for the week and a little bit of chat there. We will get into the 2024 Morehammer Awards show. Indeed.
Fan trumpet, fanfare.
And so what we've done here, guys, I put out a number of polls for each award so that you guys could get involved as well and have your say. We've had miniature of the year for each of the game systems, more or less. First of which up we have the Old World. And the 4 choices we came down to on our nominees, and Discord and you guys in the community helped out with this, and me and the guys. But if any of us have a choice from the year that isn't on this list of 4 in each category, let me know. We can bring it into the conversation. But just for you guys listening at home, you've got the Dwarf Lord with the Shield Bearers, where the Dwarf Lord's being carried on top. You've got Fidal the Chainmaker, Ungrim Iron Fist, and Lord on Royal Pegasus as the nominees. The winner that you guys chose on 37% of the vote, and we've got around. Let me just check here. I mean, this one's 127 votes in the end. So that's awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for getting involved. Ungrim Iron Fist is your winner for the Old World.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. I probably would say Fidal would be my choice. Personally, I think that's who I voted for.
I'm in the camp of Ungrim Iron Fist, I'm afraid.
I was very close to Ungrim myself, so... Ben?
Of the 4 miniatures that are there, it
Yes.
is very close for me between Fjedal and Ungrim, but I did also vote for Ungrim of
Okay.
the 4 that are there. I am going to throw one other miniature into the mix that I meant
not on
to
here.
nominate at the time, but didn't make it onto the run. That is the Lady Elise Duchard miniature. That's the Bretonnian damsel special character
horse.
riding on the
Of
Pegasus.
course, yeah.
On the Pegasus, yeah, sorry.
That
yeah.
is such a beautiful miniature, and it
nice,
is.
yeah.
I mean, it's very different to what we've got here. Everything else here is
I
very.
think that should go
martial.
for a special recommendation. And what,
Definitely, yeah.
No, what's it called when you say, when you have like
honourable mention.
honourable mentions? That was it. I couldn't
Yeah.
think of the phrase. Honourable mention should go to Lady Elise Duchard.
If nothing else, the miniature has basically been out of stock since release. Like every time I try and buy a
This is
copy,
true.
it's sold out. That's how popular that miniature is.
I'll be honest, but I completely forgot about her actually, and you're right. She's very nice.
Came out right at the start of the year, so she's been with us. Well, for those who are lucky enough to get their hands on one, she's been with us for much of the year. But yeah, it's. I mean, I managed to eventually get myself a copy of the Ungrim Iron Fist miniature. I suppose that is also a telling thing of these 4 miniatures. Ungrim is the one I forked out my hard-earned cash for, but I would have quite happily bought the Elise Duchard miniature
I will
if I could ever find one in stock.
When I get a chance, I'll be picking up Ungrim, definitely, just to pen and just have it, because I think it's phenomenal. I think
So-
when we covered it on the podcast at the time, we both said, wow, what a miniature.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So Ben, even if Elise was on here, would Ungrim still be your winner?
No, if Elise was on here, I think I'd have voted for her.
So you don't have to pick one that's on here. You can still pick her. So in that case, the 3 of us would have had 3 different minis anyway. You see, but
We
out
would,
of this
this is
list, I mean, Ungrim was chosen by
I mean,
the
I would have
community,
voted for
chosen by you
Dreadfleet if
two.
it was
So
on there, but
I suppose putting it in terms of going on what is on there, I think Sai and I are both agreed that Ungrim
Ungrim.
is the better miniature.
I can't disagree with that, and the community's gone with it as well. So, I mean, Ungrim, you're outright winner of the year for Old World. Fantastic. Necromunda, you've got Lady Hera.
Yeah, well, you're missing a tricky. You should be saying, and the nominations for Best Necromunda Miniature are...
That's true, that's true. The nominations are for Necromunda Miniature of the Year, Lady Hera, Squat Scout Trikes, that's one to say, Melstrain Coalescence, and Lady Hera Spirasuit. So she's got in there twice on this one.
I was surprised that there weren't more nominations for this one, to be honest, because given the amount of awesome Necromunda miniatures.
Well, this is the thing, so you can only put 4 on YouTube
I know.
polls.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the community.
Which is why we're able to kind of say what our other nominees would be, I think. Because this was a tight one, guys. So from your guys' votes, and there's 1% in it, so I mean it's incredibly close. The Squat Scout Shrikes won it from the community vote. Melstrain Coalescence coming in 1% behind there with 27% of the vote. But
how many votes did we have on this one?
78 on this one, so still a good number of votes.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what I do remember what I voted for on this one. Lady Hera at the top. She's my
top
favorite.
Lady Hera you voted for. Okay,
yes,
the one with the giant floofy trousers.
I voted for the Scout Trikes.
I voted for the Squat Trikes as well.
They were your suggested nominee, weren't they, Ben? So
everything Squat on Necromunda is a winner for me. I love it all.
But the Trikes in particular are just glorious.
They are awesome. And again, a well-deserved winner for that one. Lady Hera was just my pick because I just thought the design to put the actual servitor drones carrying the ends of the dress. Oh, I thought it was just such a clever miniature design, but that one was my pick. But the Squat Scout Trikes are very cool. I can't deny.
I would be tempted to say that all of the Malstrain stuff as well deserves an honourable mention. I mean, not just the Coalescence, but the Thanos bug, as Sai and I dubbed him, with his giant meaty fist.
Oh, is that the Malstrain Alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Malstrain Alpha, and just the regular Malstrain Gene Stealers. I love that very different, uniquely Necromundan aesthetic now for the Gene Stealers, and the fact that they are literally like the Hive Mind's like, ew, no, we don't want those.
Love that. Yeah, even the Hive Mind's like, that's a hard no. I'm not bothering. I'm not bothering with that. It's been irradiated. It's been all sorts.
But no, I mean, if there were 5 nominees on here, I think another one of the Malstrain minis, probably Thanos Bug, would have made it on here pretty easily, I would imagine.
I was half tempted just to nominate the Sentry Guns just for a laugh.
Oh, they are cool, to be fair. But yes, Scout Trikes are the winners of the Necromunda Miniature of the Year. But moving on to our next category and award, we have the Horus Heresy Miniature of the Year nominees: Archmagos Prime, Horus Aximand, Endrid Har, and Hibu Khan. And your guys' winner in the community for this one this year, Horus Heresy Miniature of the Year, fairly outright, I'd say here, is Endrid Har.
Yeah, it's a clear one.
And it would be my pick as well. I don't know about
and it was my pick as well.
Yeah. So?
Yeah, to be honest, I tend to agree. Of the 4 there, Endrid Har is pretty cool. Although I do like the White Scars character, Hibu Khan. I do like him. Okay. Not bothered about the Archmagos. Horus Aximand's pretty cool. But there's been a lot of Horus Heresy ones that didn't get mentioned that I thought were fairly decent as well. So
there were lots of good ones this year.
It was a tough category to call, this one.
It was.
How many votes did we get on that one? Is 60 odd, was it?
66. I think that was one of the lowest we had for Horus Heresy.
What would have been your honourable mention on this, Si?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can remember names, though.
Honourable mention?
Yeah.
It's slightly controversial and it's a bit late as well. The Caster of Runes, I really like it.
The Space Wolf one?
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
It was pretty cool mini, to be fair. As soon as I posted about this one for the community to get involved, most people were just saying Endrid Har was their miniature of the year, let alone...
Actually, if we're talking about Horus Heresy, would this include Legions Imperialis as well?
Technically.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, Dark Mac. I've never thought
of that. Cool, yeah.
I wish I'd thought of that earlier. I would have nominated it. The Stalkers, the Overlord Stalkers. For the
I came this close to putting one of them on Sai, so I wish I had now. But Like you say, we've actually, despite, to be honest, the fact that we haven't had any massive releases really for Heresy this year.
No, because I was trying to think of
It's
single
been some
miniatures at the
lovely
time
minis.
as well. I never even gave a thought to the epic stuff. I thought we'd be doing a separate category, and then it just slipped my mind.
But no, like I say, the Endred mini, from what people have been saying, in my opinion, just the detail, whoever's designed this mini is incredible. So the battle damage to the armor,
Yeah,
everything's just gorgeous.
In the
So,
World Eaters
fair play.
thing on his backpack as well. It's pretty
Yes,
cool.
Yeah.
I keep looking at this and just thinking, I just need to do him as a Carcharodon because he's just so cool.
It would work, definitely.
It would look so cool.
So there we go. Endred is your Horus Heresy Miniature of the Year, guys.
A clear and worthy winner.
Yeah, there we go. And now, a fun one. We have the Blood Bowl Miniature of the Year award.
This was our lowest vote one. And the nominees are...
And the nominees are...
Why am I starting
Zog
talking? Because I'm going to have to say these, aren't I? But you did it.
Zog Madai, Rodney Roachbait, Gnome and Goose, I've put it as, because there's no real probably name, and Rashnak Backstabber. There's been, again, some gorgeous Blood Bowl minis.
I didn't vote in this one, but I do have a favourite.
Okay, who's your favourite, Si?
It's not who you think it would be.
Okay.
You think I'd go with my team allegiance and go Rodney Roachbait?
I'm going to assume it was the Chaos Dwarf, given your obsession with Chaos Dwarfs.
Well, no, I don't have an obsession with Chaos Dwarfs. However,
I'm gonna. You know what, Si? There's still time. I'm gonna clip this, and then I'm gonna put all of the moments from the year where you've gone blushed over Chaos Dwarfs in the end of year video. Clip.
Size Chaos Dwarf mega cut.
I don't have an obsession with Chaos Dwarfs. I have an obsession with the fact that they're coming back. That would be an accurate statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's Zargmadai.
Yeah. Ben?
My favourite isn't actually on there.
Okay, who's yours?
My favourite is Rowana Forestfoot. I mean, it's another gnome.
She's cool.
Yes.
But the one riding on the
should be an honourable mention.
Yeah. I think as much as I love the Rodney Roachbait idea, I mean, it's a gnome with a fishing rod. I mean, how much more classic can you get? But I think she's the better miniature.
I very nearly nominated Fark the Unstoppable as well, or Fark, however you pronounce his name, the Bull Centaur.
Yeah, cool as well. Like I say, quite a few nice minis this year for Blood Bowl. They generally do get nice minis Blood Bowl, don't they? To be fair, especially the star players.
I'm just trying to have a look. Does the Vampire team come out this year or the previous year?
I think it was end of last year, Ben.
Okay, cool. Because I was saying the Vampire team
because they popped up and I thought, ooh, they were some nice minis as well. But yeah, I think they were end of last year. But my pick, I think, would be Zargmadai as well, Si. So that kind of clears our winner for it. But I mean, I forgot to say the community's pick.
I was going to say, however, the winner is
Gnome and Goose.
It's a goose.
With 41% of the vote, it's Gnome and Goose.
Which, if you're looking back over the year as well, one of the best, was it Rumour Engines or just a picture they did of the goose, and everybody was trying to think of what on earth.
It was, I think it was Adepticon, it was the video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was that one.
But I know there was about a week or two, because we did the preview before Adepticon reveal when they did that fun trailer. And they actually just had the picture of the goose, and everybody was just wondering what on earth it was going with, what it was about.
Please tell me, whichever gnome you have with a goose on your team side, please tell me you have a gnome called Maverick with a goose.
Oh yeah, I do know. Well, you know my team name anyway, so yeah, I'll just name one of my gnomes as Maverick, and he's got a goose with him.
But yeah, community pick was Gnome and Goose. However, between the three of us, Zargmadai
instead of Hollywood, I'm going to have Wally Hood.
Love it. Shall we go on to our next category, guys?
Let's do it.
So, I believe next... Oh, we're getting into the big boys now. This is a
Next
heavy category.
Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar, Miniature of the Year award. And your nominees are Usharan, Vizek Scour, Iridan the Witness, and the White Dwarf this year, 2024 edition.
Rombrindal.
500th.
So just before we talk about the winners, just scroll up a tiny bit. We'll tell people how many people voted. So this one was 88 votes for Age of Sigmar.
Indeed.
So, Luke, what would have been your pick for Age of Sigmar, seeing as you're a big AOS player?
Well, I mean, this I don't want to be spoiling anything here, to be fair, but this category has my miniature of the year in it anyway, as well. And that's Usharan. Usharan is
not what I'd have thought.
Just,
no, I'm surprised at that one.
Just stunning. Why did you think I'd go Skaven?
Yeah, I thought you were going to go visit.
I thought you'd gone Skaven. I thought you'd gone with maybe the Great Theatre.
Don't get me wrong. Age of Sigmar, I still think the team does the best miniatures in Warhammer. At this current stage, I think they're just. I think the potential they have with the monstrous creatures in this world, this lore, the team can go nuts, and they do every year. And Usharan would be my winner out of these four, but don't get me wrong, all of these minis are just unbelievable. But lads, what were your picks here? Before I actually do that, sorry, community winner for this, one of the most outright we've had so far, 48% went for Usharan. Vizixgower did get 32% though. So
come on, man, you go first.
My two at the bottom two, actually. I love the Griffin that Iridan the Witness is riding. I'm not sure about Iridan himself, but it's one of the better Griffins I think I've ever seen them sculpt. But my choice was obviously for Grombrindal himself, the ultimate Grognard, the White Dwarf. I love that the new miniature that they did for him. As much as I think the Ashura miniature is cool, I think the White Dwarf miniature is much cooler.
Yeah, White Dwarf is fantastic.
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, out of the four that's there, it was a toss-up for me between Vizixgower and the White Dwarf. And as of now, I still can't decide. So I didn't vote in this one either. Because I couldn't decide.
I voted on this one either.
I love the White Dwarf. I think it's one of the best White Dwarfs we've had in a long time.
Yeah. Are there any sort of honourable mentions here that you guys would have thought of that aren't on the nominees?
Flesh Eater Courts came out this year, obviously, because Assuran's on there.
Yes, yeah.
I really did like the cavalry they did, the new cavalry for the Flesh Eater Court. Riding the giant bat monster things.
Almost like Vargulf riders or whatever.
Yeah, and the Vargulf itself, I think that's a really nice model. It's much nicer than the previous Vargulf. Like, I looked at that and went, well, when I get to add a Vargulf to my vampire counts for the old world, that's the one I'm adding.
Yeah, I think some of the Dark Oaths should get an honourable mention as well, because they've got some really nice miniatures.
Yeah. They do.
Very nice, actually, yeah. But no, some stunning models for Age of Sigmar this year. So I think out of the three of us, it was hard to say, but White Dwarf out of the three of us, I think, would have been the winner, yeah? Because you two would have picked him, yeah?
Probably, yeah. I would say so. If I was supposed to make a decision now, I think looking at the picture, I'd go for the White Dwarf.
Okay, it's clearly a much cooler. Look how dramatic the sky looks behind him.
Yeah, I've kind of made it unfair there with him getting the background in that picture, haven't I? But no, so award from us guys goes to the White Dwarf, from the community goes to Usharan. So thanks again for voting all. We got 88 votes in that one as well, so that's fantastic. Thanks guys for that. We move on to 40k and 72 votes in this one.
Can I read the nominees? Or do you want to do it?
Yeah, go on, so you can do it, mate.
So the nominees for Warhammer 40,000 are Sacrosanct Aveline. So she's the Order of the White Rose, is that right?
That's correct. With the dib fleur de lis sword.
Yeah, with the sword bursting into flames. The Orc Big Mech Kroot Warshaper, which I think Luke might be quite fond of. And Provisionally Prepared, which are the two Rattling Snipers with the little stash of food for Kill Team. So the community award for this one was quite close, but it went to Provisionally Prepared, the Rattlings. How many votes was that, Luke?
That was 72, but I mean,
72 votes, less than Age of
11
Sigmar.
days of voting on this one. So
out of the four here, I was torn between the Sister of Battle and the Rattlings, to be honest with you. In the end, I think I'd pick the Rattlings.
Ben?
For me, it would have been the Big Mac. I really, really love the new. It's on my to buy list. I really like kind of. One of the things I like from the Votan range is the kind of mech dudes and the big kind of Agent of Tomorrow style war suits. And
the Brohir Ironkin.
Yeah, that's it. And here's the Orky version of it. It's clearly much better
with all the heavy weapons.
Yeah, they've got they've got armored kind of
exosuits.
Exosuits, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the Orky version.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, no, I love the new Orc Big Mac model. I would absolutely. I mean, it's on my to buy list.
It came close in the community vote. It was only 2% behind the provisionally prepared model.
33% for the Big Mac, 35% for the Ratlins.
And this, aside from the poor little Kroot War Shaper, the voting was pretty close on this one again, really.
To be honest, if she didn't have the flames on the sword bursting into the fleur de lis, I might have voted for the Sister of Battle, because
I was just about to say
it's a different order as well. It's nice to see a different order represented. It's like we always see Ultramarines, don't we? So we always see a certain order for the sisters. But I just think it was a bit too much with that fleur de lis on the sword. It was just a bit in your face.
I was just about to say.
But then again, it's a Black Library miniature, isn't it? It's a special miniature. So
this is true.
The sword on her lost it for me. I know that when it was revealed, it was Marmite. I think, like, on social media, like, some people absolutely loved it despite it. For me, the whole rest of the model is perfect. Just the sword, I don't know what it is. It just looks a bit out of place for me. Not quite. It just looks maybe too.
There's a bit too much faith for you there, isn't there, Luke?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
To be fair, with this category, I think this one was a tough one as well, because there's been, I wouldn't say a lot of releases this year, because there hasn't been a lot.
I was going to say that.
But there's been some decent releases. So
I mean, the Blood Angel's got a load of miniatures, but those apart fairly dramatically in previous videos.
Dark Angels got revealed at the end of last year, but they did get released this year.
Yeah.
That's true.
You got Belial. I mean, I was surprised that the Inner Circle companions were on there, because I think they're brilliant.
Again, it's another one that could easily have been in
if
there.
they were on there, I'd probably have voted for the Inner Circle companions, to be honest with you.
Okay. So
I would have struggled to choose between them and the Orc Big Mac. I think of the new Dark Angels miniatures, those are, again, they're the ones that are most kind of I must get those at some point for my Dark Angels.
One thing I'm surprised isn't on there is the shield captain for the custodian. I can't even say it with a straight face, I'm sorry. The custodian shield captain, that was a swing and a miss, that one, wasn't it?
We should have actually done a category for, like, actually, it probably would have been a bit harsh, but, like,
it would have been cruel.
Miniatures of the year, but yeah.
I would have voted for the Vespin Stingwings anyway.
Yeah. But I don't think I've even said what I would have chosen yet. The Orc Big Mech for me as well, Ben. I do love, obviously, the crew, but I can't deny the fact that Orc Big Mech for me is.
Do you know what? If that's between the three of us, if that's the winner between the three of us, I've got no complaints with that. It's a superb miniature.
The Kroot Warshaper miniature is a lovely miniature, but I think actually the Kroot riding on the
well, Ben, that was going to be my other
the Krootox
mention that's not on here.
Not the Rampager, but the little stealthy salamandery looking one.
Oh, the Calamander, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's pretty good. The Kroot in general probably, had some nice and was a lovely release this year.
As far as Glock go, the Kroot have had a fantastic boost, haven't they?
Yeah,
definitely. But in terms of, like, set piece minis that I suppose you'd consider to be miniature of the year, Orc Big Mech wins it for me. It's an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm just not keen on squats, so it's just.
Was Farsight this year as well? Wasn't that the same time as the Big Mech?
That's been a few years ago.
It's a while back. I was going to say, though, controversial, I don't know, but the reveal show we just had, and all the miniatures announced in that, if you put miniatures from that reveal show into this, I think it would have taken up most of this category over all the other releases we've had this year.
It would just be an argument over which Eldar miniature is going to be miniature of the year next year.
Yeah. Just the Phoenix Lords.
Let's just go through, like, Arena of Death them until we figure out which one we like best.
Yeah. But no, like you say, low miniature release, maybe 440k this year in this category, which probably shows maybe in our last poll, but award. But before we go into that, and Ben, did you want to do this one so you get a chance to do it?
By all means. So I mean, that's I think the least number of votes we got, which was which of the systems that got a new edition was your favourite new edition of the game for Warhammer. The 4 nominees were the Old World, Kill Team 3rd edition, Warhammer Underworld's 2nd edition, or Age of Sigmar 4th edition. We only got 56 votes on this. This was actually the least kind of level of engagement in terms of.
Well, no, but I think Blood Bowl was the least.
Was it?
I think one of them had 39 something.
Blood Bowl, yeah. But this is low. I was surprised. I thought we'd get way more votes on this.
We've had a few less days on this one as well, I suppose. Than the others.
Yeah, it's
true,
only
I
been 8 days
suppose.
actually. Good,
But
good
we'll
point.
see how many were on the last one. I can't remember, to be honest, but because I haven't looked at it for a little while. But yeah. So I mean, for community vote, you guys chose on 46% 4th edition for Sigmar. Then 30% Old World also coming in strong just after that, and then you've got 3rd edition Kill Team 21%, and down there Warhammer Underworld 2nd edition with only 2%, which
That's a little
says a
embarrassing.
lot. It is a
Well, I
little
mean,
embarrassing.
it's only 56 votes, but I still think that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It does.
It does, and
That's basically one vote.
I'm going to come in here and
It is
say
actually.
I'd assume I'm the only person out of the three of us that have tried all 4 of these this year.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only played Old World and Kill Team, so yeah.
Okay.
I've only played Old World and Sigmar 4th edition.
I didn't actually vote on this one.
Neither did I, actually. I missed this one.
Which is
Besides, now did I?
So
That's why it's got a low vote. Because everyone's missed it.
It should have been
damn it, it could have been
59
59 votes. But my reason being,
To be fair, in the last 8 days, my life has gone upside down, so it's fine.
yeah. After having played all 4 of these, some more than others, Old World and Sigmar, we've had out longer, to be fair. 4th edition, I'd say the best edition of Sigmar so far. The Old World, I couldn't give as better a thing on because I haven't played all of the previous editions, so I couldn't tell you if it's the best edition we've had and what improvements it's made over previous editions. That's the only thing I couldn't say. So
Well,
I didn't
I mean,
want
you'd
to
have
vote
to
on it for that reason.
count Warhammer Fantasy Battle into that, then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I figured Luke meant there, was comparing
Yeah,
it to
that's what I was
previous
on about.
editions.
Yeah. Because it's still Warhammer Fantasy Battle, just they
It
changed
is.
the rules.
It's
Obviously,
basically...
it's a rebrand, but it is effectively a new edition. I know
It's
they
like a
renamed
greatest
it,
hits
but
version.
It's basically
of Fantasy
9th
Battle.
edition, but yeah.
yeah. So I assume you guys would probably pick Old World.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't even need to ask me on that one.
Yeah. But
If
it
Old
would-
World wasn't there, I would have gone Kill Team all day. But
yeah,
Old World for me, I was so excited about it, and it's been great.
It's cracking.
Yeah, the new edition is fantastic, or the new game, and then like I say, 4th edition I've been really enjoying. It would be between those two for me. I can't really separate them. 3rd edition of Kill Team I've had a little go with. I've watched some people play it already. It's very slightly made improvements over the last edition, but I thought the last edition was fairly decent anyway. It's kind of in the middle ground for me. Warhammer Underworld 2nd edition I'm still disappointed with compared to the last one, which would probably show why it's only got 2% of the vote there. That and popularity, probably. But yeah. Your guys' choice for that one was 4th edition Sigmar. Our choice overall would be, I believe, the Old World. So congratulations there to the Old World. But the last one and the big one, which of course we wrap this up with, the overall Warhammer Miniature of the Year award, to end off the Morehammer Awards show for the year. And your nominees for this one are Usharan from Age of Sigmar, Provisionally Prepared from Warhammer 40k, Nomen Goose from Blood Bowl, and Endrid Har from Horus Heresy. There's some big hitters in there, and obviously these have come in from I've done this via community vote from the highest kind of picks from each category, really. And Usharan smashed this one with 57% of the vote.
How many votes on
What would
this
your
one?
guys have picked? 119 votes.
Mm.
So I think time hasn't been an issue with this one. This was on
No.
the least amount of time. This was
Only
I
up
only
3
put this up
days.
3 days ago. So Usharan was your guys' winner out there, and thanks for voting as always. But what would you guys say? Would your Miniature of the Year not be on this list? Obviously, I could only put 4 on here. So what would your guys' pick be off of these 4, but then also your own pick?
Dreadfleet.
Ben, do you want to go first, since Sai's taking a drink?
Size muttering about Dreadfleet into his whiskey. But mine would have been, of these 4, mine would have been Endrid Har.
Okay, yeah.
I like the other miniatures that are on there, but bear in mind that I think of these four, Endred is the only one that I picked that would have been my
No, that's
pick.
fair. Yeah.
In terms of all of the miniatures that we've put, I'll stick purely to the miniatures we've put on the different polls. It would have been Ungrim Iron Fist. It would have been Ungrim Iron Fist. It would have been the Slayer King.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
If I could have put 5 on nominees on here, I probably would have put Ungrim.
And then he'd have won.
On here.
I just think everything about Ungrim is just hit the nail on the head. I think it's brilliant. The pose, the detail, and it's like an earlier version of an established character. So you've got that already established love for the character, if you like, especially for Ben, who's a dwarf player as well.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic miniature. They've really done it good.
It's one of the best pieces of sculpting that they've done this year, and there has been some amazingly sculpted miniatures that are coming. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's been some truly beautiful Age of Sigmar miniatures, for example.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, Age of Sigmar continues to be like top level, but there's just sometimes a miniature comes along and it comes on the screen, and you think, wow,
yeah,
that is
like
special.
the Grandmaster of the Knights Panther for me, for example.
Yeah. Which, that'll be up for next year's if it's still by the end of the year. I mean, bear in mind we could still get some more gorgeous minis by the end of next year.
We're not even into
World,
next year yet.
You got like Wood Elves to come, High Elves.
High Elves, come on.
So but yeah, so I mean, did we say out of these 4 guys you would have picked?
I would have picked Endred of these 4 because he is literally actually the one that I picked of the different polls.
Well, I would have picked the Ratlins, so I'll stick with that one. So.
Okay, and for me, I already kind of spoiled it.
Endred
It'd be a Sharan. So,
and I do love the gnome.
So we're actually tied on this one, really. But I mean,
I didn't vote for the gnome. I voted for the Ratlins previously, so
yeah, that's true. And then obviously, like we say, everybody's choices are so varied that there'll be ones that aren't on this list,
But yeah, as Ben said, if Ungrim Iron Fist was on here, that would have got my vote straight away.
Indeed. But I mean, guys, as well, that is our last award for the Morehammer Award Show. Thanks to everybody, obviously, who voted, and especially to people on Discord who helped out with mentioning some nominees to put on these. I think doing it with you guys in the community in the end really added to it. So thanks for that, guys. And obviously, hopefully we'll be back next year for another amazing year of reveals. We've already had some amazing, probably, contestants revealed at the end of this year.
Next year, we should definitely have a Black Library category. I'm very tempted to do a video reviewing like some of the top Black Library books that have been released this year. Yeah. I'll quickly throw a couple of mentions on here that I think are worthy contenders. Lord of the Lance, obviously. This is the Graham McNeill Old World novel. It's the only Old World novel we've had this year, but it was lovely to see a new novel set in the world that was. But also I want to mention Bad Loon Rising, which I finished very, very recently by Andy Clark. That is absolutely one of the best Age of Sigmar novels that I have ever read. It was, if you haven't read it, go read it. It's brilliant.
Good show.
Absolutely brilliant.
I think if we do this next year, Black Library should be a category, and best Warhammer themed animation should be a category as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good one for sure. The only thing I do think with the Black Library is, I feel like, to be fair, with it actually being an awards thing, because we'll only end up picking the books we've read, which might only have been a few in the year.
We'll have to put our hands in the community for that one.
Yeah, we could ask people in the community for recommendations
sure.
and stuff like that.
Sure,
I mean, there's going to be some good books coming out next year as well. There's the third Caradon's novel by Robbie McNiven coming out next year. There's finally Interceptor City coming out by Dan Abnett, the sequel to the long-awaited sequel to Double Eagle coming out next year as well. So there's some absolute...
I'm sure he'll be typing the word VIF very often.
But no, it's been an amazing year, guys, of miniature releases. We've had 4 new editions of Warhammer games this year. It's been a big one. 2 of which came right at the end of this year. It's been pretty mad. But I figured we'd take a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes or something at the end before we finish off the year. Just coming up with our kind of favourite moments from the year. Not necessarily on the podcast, but just hobbying that you've done over the year. And then what we're going to be up to kind of over Christmas, I guess, guys. If you've got any hobby plans, I guess. I don't know who wants to kick us off with kind of a favourite moment from the year.
Si, do you want to go first?
Or do Si go on then? Go first. At the bottom.
Favorite moment from the year? That's a tough one, really, to be honest. I mean,
well, you liked Necromunda, didn't you? The big release for
Necromunda was great. Necromunda's Hive Secundus, that was surprising how good it was. I think they've really done well with the lore and bringing sort of the mystery of a second Hive to life. And then the recent reveal show that we've had with the Eldar, I mean, they showed all the Krieg stuff off, and we thought, okay, that's the first chunk of Warhammer 40,000 stuff that we're getting. And they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not done. Here's some Eldar, which we thought we'd see at the start of next year. I mean, wow, what a reveal show that was. All the Phoenix Lord, all the new Aspect Warriors. So for me, that was a definite highlight. But then if we go right back to the start of the year as well, the Old World release was a highlight as well, because I got to go and play it on the open day as well at Warhammer World. So that was pretty cool, to be honest. So
it took the internet and everybody by storm, Old World, when it came back, didn't it? Like,
they marketed it really well. They made it a slow burn. I mean, they started doing the articles for
years ago.
Kislev, what, 2019? I think it was late 2019.
Pre-COVID,
late 2019. And then it sort of bubbled away under the surface for a while. I was like, oh, what's happening with the Old World? Is it ever going to happen? And all of a sudden, it started ramping up, and we got regular updates. And then along it came, and it's been quite well received, and it's a good game. And being there at the open day to play it as well, and the way everything's presented, some of the miniatures that are coming out, I think for me, Old World at the start of the year probably just tips it.
Yeah. But Ben, do you want to add anything to that? I know Old World obviously would have been massive for you. I know you were doing videos galore about it last year leading up to it. So
doing like almost daily videos in the lead up to the Old World release. In terms of a game release this year, yeah, it's no surprise to anyone. I think the Old World has been the game I was most excited by, and what I in particular have loved is the scope and the amount of releases that we've had for it.
Down to them, they've done it well, I think.
I mean, that's
it. They've not just shoved it out the door, have they, and then left it at that. It's been really well done.
They put effort in. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't quite. I did at one point this year predict that we were going to get every single Arcane Journal and Army release by the end of the year.
We did,
we've come close, but we haven't quite gotten all of them. Although we're very, very close to it. But yeah, the way in which that's been handled, the game system itself is really, really good. I'm not sure it's my favorite edition of Warhammer Fantasy. I think that still for me is a struggle between 5th edition and 6th edition, but it is a really solid, like well playable game. The release weekend for that was a big kind of thing for me, that experience of going into the store and seeing people swarming out the door with boxes of it. I mean, it really was kind of brought back the memory of the excitement of that. And actually, in terms of games that I've played, just give me 1 minute. I've been holding back a sneeze.
That's how excited Old World got him.
I've been holding back that sneeze.
It all came
in terms of games I've played this year, I mean, I've had some great games of Necromunda. I've had some great games of other game systems, older game systems. My favourite game that I have played this year was the battle report I did, refighting the battle from White Dwarf 229 and taking the Empire army from that and pitching it up against my mate's Night Goblin army, and both of us trying as much as possible to replicate the armies from that
White steam Dwarf. Tank survived for a long time.
Well, so many snotlings, but in particular, it played just like the White Dwarf did, and it really showed that the game system held up to its legacy in that way. I loved that game. It's one of the. I don't know about you guys. I don't necessarily go back and watch much of my own stuff occasionally, but I've watched that battle report a couple of times because I enjoyed playing it so much, and I enjoy watching that game.
That was Gardenhammer as well, wasn't it?
That was Gardenhammer. That was a bit of outdoors warhammering. But I'm looking forward to doing a few more of those in the new year and doing some more classic White Dwarf rematches. In terms of the other thing I think is worthy of mention that I've enjoyed from the hobby from this year has been this. It's been the podcast. I've loved getting together with you guys and just chatting over Warhammer and geeking out about Warhammer. I mean, I'm 90% geek, so I've got to get my geek on, and I love geeking out and enthusing with Warhammer with equally kind of Warhammer fanatics like you guys. And some of the guests we've had some brilliant guests.
We've had some great chats with guests over the year. Like I said, I'd agree, Ben. Yeah, the podcast's been amazing. It's been a great first year of doing it. And may it carry on, I suppose, into 2025.
We discovered Elstorm Casti, things we never thought we'd
on the
imagined.
wall.
Yes,
Right there.
I never would have come across that for the podcast.
Elstorm
No, Yeah, that was a whole section of the year. There have been some great moments on here, and before I forget at the end, guys, for anybody listening, watching, I'm going to do a short video of just sort of outtakes from the year. That'll come up over sort of Christmas period. So that'll be some good fun and some outtakes.
We apologise in advance if there are any bleeps involved.
Yeah. So that
There may
should be
be a
good
few.
fun. I don't know exactly when it'll come out, but between now and, because we won't have a new episode now, of course, until a little bit into the new year. That's when we'll be back, just to give us some time off, obviously. So we're effectively missing an episode. So you're going to have a few weeks to a month, guys, before you get another episode back. But, yeah, so stay tuned for that one. But, yeah, for me, the podcast's been amazing, so thanks to you guys as well. We've been on most episodes throughout the year, I think, so we've done pretty damn well. And then obviously I'm glad we've been able to end it with this kind of dress. We're all dressing up and doing the
We
awards
should dress
show.
up a lot more often. I feel quite good.
Yeah, it's good.
But no, I mean, aside from that, in
We'll
terms
do
of
a
the
fancy
actual
dress
hobby,
episode next year.
we've got to do Halloween next year. By the way,
that's cool.
We've definitely
We'll
got to
have
do
a
it.
Halloween episode.
But yeah, so in terms of picks for the year for me, Old World for sure. I mean, you got to bear in mind that so Fantasy Battle, I only got to play, I don't know what edition it would have been back in the day, but then most of my friends didn't play it. They played 40k or whatever at the time. So this fine, and then obviously because we had the gap, I kind of missed it. And back in the day when I did manage to play a bit of it, and I had my old Lizardmen army, one of my friends had Tomb Kings, and I couldn't afford to have more than one army at the time. And I always looked at Tomb Kings and thought I'd really love them. And even obviously when Warhammer Fantasy Battle went away and you couldn't get the miniatures anymore, obviously Tomb Kings disappeared. So it's not even like I could still play the old rules and easily get hold of Tomb Kings. So my dream was gone, and I never thought it would come back. So for having this year, the beginning of the year, to start it out, getting a new Tomb King army, I've got like nearly 1,500 points now.
Got
it all
more than
painted
me.
up. That's got to be my moment of the year, because that's kind of fulfilling a bit of a dream that I never thought I'd get. So, that was moment of the year for me. But one thing that linked to the podcast, again, obviously, people might have thought, because people know I like Sigmar, obviously, kind of the Sigmar guy on this podcast, I guess. So people probably would have thought it'd be
Sigmar
4th edition.
Lizardman guy.
But honestly, it was Old World for me at the beginning of the year. That was something special. But linked to the podcast again, the episode we had, I think my favourite episode of the year, I think we had Tom on it as well. Where we chatted about, we had the Sigmar Lies video.
Oh, yes.
And we did the preview for that event. And we had a chat about the lore and what we thought it might be for 4th edition.
That's right.
Tide. That was one of my favourite episodes of the year.
What's it going to mean and what could be happening?
That was one of my favourites of the year. And that kind of period of time this year as well, I loved the lead up and the hype coming up to the Sigmar. And we got a great new, obviously, release box and models for Sigmar, so that would be up there for me as well. And obviously I've managed to build and paint up a ton of armies this year. I think 4 maybe I've gotten built up and painted this year. I've been smashing it out. So no, I've really enjoyed it this year and got a lot of hobbying done. Hopefully we'll do next year as well. Anything else, guys, to close out? Anything we're going to be doing over Christmas?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, obviously, the current project, Tyranids, and obviously Curse City. So I'm painting up the Curse City bits, get some of that done over Christmas, and hopefully get a couple of games in, I'm sure. And then try and get some more of the Tyranids painted. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything new over Christmas, probably not until the new year. Are there either of you guys picking up any of the Battle Force boxes or anything like that?
Not this time round.
No.
The only one I would have been tempted by was the Dark Angels one, and that one, as far as I can tell, is sold out pretty much everywhere instantaneously.
Yeah. I think Element Games are going to get some Battle Force boxes back in, they said.
Yes, I've seen that.
But whether the Dark Angels one will be there. I was tempted by the Dark Angels one and the Tower one, to be fair. The Battlesuit box is pretty decent.
Really good ones this year.
again,
boxes.
yeah, I'm not going to be picking up anything.
No. I mean, I was tempted as well by the Flesh Eater one, because I do want to start a Courts army at some point, but I've got enough projects at the moment going to get on with over Christmas, so that'll be what I'm up to. But if we go in reverse order, Ben, what about you?
Well, obviously, my ongoing Christmas challenge to myself is to get 1,000 points of High Elves painted. I'm still blitzing by that. There should be another video of my Elf off the Shelf videos going up tomorrow on my channel. The other thing I've got over Christmas is, I can finally mention this now, I've been teasing it a few times in our previous podcasts, my Christmas special will be up in just over a week. I have got a video. This is actually one of the hobby moments we mentioned about hobby moments. This is one of the hobby moments that I'm otherwise most proud of from this year. My special Paints, Trains and Automobiles, it's called. A challenge video in which myself and two of my friends travel across country whilst frantically painting Warcry warbands in a race to Element Game, to Firestorm Games down in Cardiff. Traveling, as it suggests, by road, by rail, and by air to get there whilst painting Warcry warbands. It's been a labour of love. That's a project I've been working on for well over a year. We had a lot of fun filming that in the summer of this year. Then I've basically spent the last 3 months editing it before it's now in its finished format up on my channel. It's going up on the day after Boxing Day, the Friday the 27th. Awesome. But if you want to watch it now, it's on my Patreon now for anyone who wants to catch it in advance.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. It looks really good.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see it, but looking very much forward to it. And to see how you get on with your Elf off the Shelf project, that'll be fun as well. Si, any plans for you, bud? Anything you think you're going to whack out and do?
I'm going to try and do some painting over the Christmas holidays. I mean, I am actually working between Christmas and New Year. I've been off this week. I'm going to do the finishing touches to my Space Crusade unboxing video, try and get that posted up, because that's nice. I've been teasing that for a while, so that needs to be sorted. And then try and get some paint on my the rest of my gnomes, get my gnome team ready for next year, so I can draw a line under that one, get that one done. And then maybe some work on some Tomb Kings, and I've got the Halo Flashpoint miniatures to paint up as well. So yeah, plenty on
projects,
plenty on the desk to be done. Yeah, there's plenty undercoated ready to go. So I'm not going to buy anything new. There may be some Eldar coming from Father Christmas. So yeah, we'll see.
I have a mysterious box from my stepbrother, which I'm fingers crossed is some old world goodies, because he asked me what I'd like, and I mentioned.
Yeah, I think I might be getting the Dire Avengers. Because that would round out my aspects then that are currently available, ready for the new stuff that's coming. So
nice. But no, yeah, same for me. I'm just going to be finishing stuff off. I think I've still got a couple of heroes to paint for Tomb Kings actually, but otherwise they're all done. What's the guy with the standard bearer?
Oh, the special character one.
You're about Necker? Emissary of...
No, he's not named, but it's like the guy. I can't remember what his name is, but he's just the totem bearer
one.
Okay. So he's needs doing, but other than that, I think I'm mostly there with them. But I might pick up the brush and do some of them. But no, guys, very exciting. I'll look forward to our first episode back in the new year. To see you guys, and we'll go over what we've gotten up to over Christmas. Get into the comments, guys. Get involved with the awards. Let us know what your choice would have been. Maybe they weren't on the lists, etc. Didn't mention it at the beginning, but obviously, please do mention to subscribe. Ready for the new year. Or follow if you're listening to us on Spotify. Get ready for that. I'm sure we'll make changes, etc., and improve it as much as we can. Ready to go again for another year. And we'll do our predictions, I'm sure, for 2025 for releases, and of course our New Year resolutions. That'll be good fun.
Let us know in the comments as well any guests you'd like us to approach to try and be on next year. It would be interesting to hear from the community who you'd like to see on the podcast, who we could approach to ask if they'd be interested in being on it.
Yeah, give us some lofty goals as well. Who do you want to see on the podcast?
That'd be good. Good idea. But yeah, everybody have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. Before we go, just very quickly, guys, Ben, where can people find you?
You can find me over on my channel, 90% Geek, or I'm over on Blue Sky and Instagram using the same handle as well.
So?
Yep, same. Find me on YouTube at Hobby Waffle, and same handle on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky. And yeah, just make sure you have a nice Christmas and Happy New Year.
Definitely. Myself, Wargaming Luke on Blue Sky mostly at the moment. So join us over there. I'm sure I'll be posting lots of fun stuff about what we're getting up to over the Christmas break, and also in our Discord. Join us on that. Link in the description below. Be great for new people to join over the Christmas period.
And tell us what projects you're working on as well.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, have a fantastic Christmas and Happy New Year, guys. And as always, happy wargaming. We'll see you next year.
Merry Christmas.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Bye.